Hello friends, this is Golden Helmet bringing you a block-by-block tutorial for how to build my Nautilus Flux Trident Killer. The Nautilus Flux Trident Killer is a modification of Navy Nexus's Loot and Delivery Trident Killer specifically for farming tridents from drowned. It will roughly double your rate of trident drops from a drowned farm in the present version. I previously showcased this trident killer in a silent video and I featured it in my drowned funnel. Check out the drowned funnel tutorial if you need a drowned farm design. Now the way this trident killer works is that it continuously cycles Nautilus shells through the kill chamber. Drowned prefer to hold Nautilus shells over anything else, so they will drop tridents to pick up shells. Mobs drop any items they have picked up when they're killed, so you can get the shells back and you can recycle them using an item filter and transport system. Do be aware though that not all monsters can pick up items, only about 25% of monsters spawn with that ability. Since 15% of drowned spawn with tridents, the Nautilus Flux Trident Killer will add one trident drop to your loot for about every 27 drowned killed. Also note that only naturally spawned drowned spawn with tridents, so don't try to use this trident killer in a farm where you're drowning regular zombies. It won't do anything in that situation. Here are the materials you will need for this trident killer along with the filters that make it work. About a stack of blocks. A few of these do need to be solid blocks. I've got it split half and half between glass and kelp in this demonstration. Just the glass is just to make things easier to see, but about a stack of full blocks. And then the exact numbers of all the other items you'll see here. To begin, we want to make sure that we're not building the actual trident killer across a chunk border. So I'm crossing the Z 32 to 33 or negative 32 to 33 there and moving a few blocks away from it. We're going to start with a block on the ground and then 5 droppers going up and hoppers coming off this over to our item filters. It's 1, 2, that way, 3, 4 the other direction, and then from there we can begin building item filters. These are the standard overflow protected item filters, and I'm just placing the blocks in here like this. These glass blocks can be solid blocks. I just use glass, as I've said, for making it easier to see what we're doing. I'm going to lay out collection chests here for the rotten flesh and the gold ingots. And then the tridents will go in an overflow chest, which I'll put on later. Oops, forgot the torches on the bottom. There we go. Now I'm using the fermented spider eye as the dummy item here, and then just throwing in the gold, the flesh, and then in the first one we'll put in the Nautilus shell. Now I'd suggest to get the farm started to have about 15 Nautilus shells. You can of course start with 1 if you want to, and then just allow the farm to build up shells as you kill drowned. But you want at least about 15 or so in the system to make it begin dropping tridents from the get-go. Now we'll put in a chest to collect the tridents over here at the end. This is just going to be an overflow, so it doesn't need a filter. Just have to put a hopper pointing down into that chest, and then we'll make a hopper pipe across the top. It does have to be a hopper pipe because of the bug in Minecraft Bedrock where hoppers do not consistently pull items out of a water stream. Filter hoppers don't, that is. So we're going to let me arrange some inventory here, and we'll put ice on top of the hopper pipe to make a collection stream for experience, and then a hopper minecart at the front. Let me move some other inventory, and that will pull the items out of the water stream for filtering. Now, to protect the hopper minecart from getting washed away, I like to cover it with a top slab. So we'll break the rail, and then we're going to push a top slab down into it, You could push a solid block into it if you block the other side, but just so that water doesn't get down and wash out the hopper minecart and wash out your filters, etc. All right, so there's the slab, and now we can move on to the next layer of the build. We're going to begin with the ice here. That ice will help items glide out of the killing floor. And then we're going to make the 4x4 floor of the trident killer around that ice. Just like this. And then we need glass at this layer, or any block actually, around where the water stream is going to be, to just wall off the sides of that. When you place the water here for the stream, make sure you don't place it into the slab, or else it'll waterlog the slab and wash things out below. You just want to be facing the ice or one of the other side blocks when you place it. Now, before we go further at the top, I need to put the circuit on the dropper vader here. There'll be 3 redstone dust, a repeater on 3 ticks pointing into the bottom dropper, and a torch there. That'll make the clock circuit. And then we do a torch tower right here. And there's our 2 Nautilus shells that came out of the filter. To do the killing, we need pistons here to push the trident in a roundabout pattern. And then we'll fill in the walls. I'm going to use glass again to make this see-through, but these could be any blocks on the side. Above the dropper elevator, we need an upside-down stair. And when that's waterlogged, it will direct the Nautilus shells through the kill chamber. Then also waterlog the back 2 pistons, and I'm putting buttons on them to prevent the water from flowing out the back. So there's the flux part. We'll throw those 2 shells in, and in a moment we'll see them come back up through the system. There they are. Okay, then solid blocks on top of the pistons, and just a sec, need to switch inventory here. Okay, so with observers pointing into the solid blocks, and solid blocks on top of the pistons will be how we power this. And then we need a top trapdoor over the exit spot, and that will let the items slide out and the experience. In the corners we want repeaters on 2 ticks, and I like to use a piece of dust in one corner. Now you'll notice that when these are all put in, it's double pulsing. It's not quite doing the roundabout that it should. To fix that, I put a button on the side here. It has to be a wooden button for the amount of time that's needed, and then when you push that, it'll reset it to a 1 at a time piston firing. So anytime you reload the chunk that this trident killer is in, you want to push that reset button just to set the timing, and then it will run fine as long as that chunk remains loaded. From there, we can put this command block I have already set up to spawn drowned and give it a test. And you can see our first drown there went for the shell, dropped a trident. Down here in the chest are tridents from both those guys. You can see there's also Nautilus shells there. Now unfortunately, sometimes those shells somehow get past the filter. It happens rarely enough that it won't break the system. And of course, drowns do drop shells when they spawn with them anyway, so they're continually being replenished. But that just is a little glitch to be aware of. I don't honestly know why it happens. Now, I was originally going to end the video here, but it was pointed out to me during the editing process that not all of the XP gets out of the killer. You can see from this angle that a little bit gets stuck up in the corner on that trap door. In addition to that, this setup here will allow fish to escape the kill area. So I have a new exit system to show you that we're going to build on the end of this. Start by putting ice there, and then instead of the trapdoor, we're going to put a repeater. The repeater is big enough to stop baby drowned and squid from exiting the chamber, but it allows flowing water to go over it. So it's an ideal exit blockage to use there. So now I'm going to switch the spawning to include fish, both cod and salmon, and they actually have different movement mechanics, so it's important to test both. You can see the salmon swim against the current, and so for that reason we need to replace the ice here with magma blocks. Now the items and experience will still get pushed right along just fine, so the magma is fine here. We don't have to have the packed ice. Cod, however, do not swim against the current. They can, but they don't always. So we also need to have an endpoint where the cod can get stopped so that they get killed before they get too far away from our collection, and where the experience can continually go past them to wherever you're going to AFK. So what I've come up with is dropping a piece of magma down like this, and then ice is going to go on the other side of that, well packed ice, to carry experience along. Put water on the magma to create a little tiny bubble column, and on top of the packed ice we're going to put a bottom slab. And with the new floating experience mechanics, the XP orbs actually climb right over that bottom slab and go on across that block. And so we can put water on the other side of the slab, and that will bring the experience up. Now you could make that a bubble column if you want to, but the way that experience orbs are currently implemented, they really don't go up any faster in bubble columns than they do in regular source water. So I'm not worrying about the soul sand there. Now, because things are coming out of the Trident Killer a little bit higher, we want to build up the walls here like this so that they're too high, so that fish and experience orbs don't bounce over the side. And now you've got a system where the experience orbs flow past, and if I wasn't standing there they would flow past, but they're getting stuck because they're attracted to me, the player. To collect the items from the fish, we need to put a minecart underneath the magma, and I've just added an extra chest with a hopper pointing to that chest, so now we've still got a fairly compact collection system that will collect all of the drops from this farm. And you'll notice some of the dead fish items and bones are floating in front of that bottom slab, but they only do that for a few seconds. They will eventually bob down low enough to be caught by the bubble column, pulled down, and then within range of the hopper minecart. So that's the Nautilus Flux Trident Killer block by block, along with the extended output filtering for fish and floating experience orbs. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you need a drown farm, check out my drowned funnel. Thanks for watching.